Hi guys, a very quick analysis of the Swiss index. So let's get straight into it. So in this range over here, we have a head and shoulders pattern, with this being the left shoulder, this being the head, and this side being the right hand shoulder. And we have the neckline being somewhere in this region over here, right? So that's what I see. That's the first thing that I see rather on the monthly chart, and that also tells us that in the future we might see actually price pushing to this point over here where the structure actually started. So from here, what I'm gonna do is head down to the weekly chart. So here we are on the weekly chart. On the monthly chart, I spoke about how we have this head and shoulders pattern, and I said that the neckline is there. So what I'm gonna do now is actually just plot that neckline, and also just bear in mind that sorry, that's not what I'm looking for. Just bear with me. Just bear in mind that necklines are actually areas and not an actual line, as I usually say. So keeping with that, rather, we could say that more or less this is our neckline, right? And we also saw that price broke below the neckline, and that or rather, should price get to this point again to retest the neckline, we would look for further selling opportunities. So when price reaches here, we will definitely be looking for further selling opportunities. So let's continue. So what else do we see here? Another thing that I see that is actually very important is the fact that we have a gap in this region, and I usually say that gaps represent liquidity. Um, let's see. I actually want to make sure that the gap is actually properly visible. Yeah, so there we go. We do have a gap. It's very close, but nonetheless it is a gap. And as I say, guys, that the market needs to get to that level to grab that gap at one point or another. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna add a line to that structure so that we don't forget about the fact that we have a gap there. So just bear with me. So there we go. The gap is almost in line with the neckline. I'm also going to add the Fibonacci retracement tool just to see if the neckline of that huge head and shoulders pattern aligns with any of the key numbers that we have on the Fibonacci retracement tool. Just bear with me. There we go. So we can see that the neckline of this head and shoulders pattern actually aligns with the 50% Fibonacci zone. It aligns with the 50% Fibonacci zone. So should price reach somewhere here, we would indeed be looking for further selling opportunities, and that is because one, we have the structure over here. Number two, we have the neckline. Number three, we have the neckline being in alignment with the 50% Fibonacci retracement zone. So let's proceed. So from here, what I'm going to do is head down to the daily chart, seeing that I don't see anything else that is particularly interesting over here, right? But before I do so, let me just point out that we also have this candlestick over here. It is a liquidity candlestick as well, and it tells us that the market needs to get to that point at one stage or another. So what I'm going to do now is just add a line to that structure or to that candlestick so that we don't forget about it. Just bear with me. Let's see. Uh, let's see. There we go. There we go. There we go. Right. So from here, what I'm going to do is head down to the daily chart. However, before I do so, let me just point out one other thing on this actual chart, and that is last week's candle. It was also a liquidity candlestick, in that it is a or rather in that last week's candle ended as a bearish candle with a small body and a long lower wick. So what that tells us is that where that candle ends at the bottom is a whole lot of liquidity, and the market needs to grab that liquidity. So I'm just going to add a line to that structure as well, or to that level rather. Just bear with me. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, there we go. There we go. Right. Yeah, now we can head down to the daily chart. So here we are on the daily chart. The first thing that I'm going to do on the daily chart is just add my channels. So just bear with me. There we go. There we go. There we go. So what else do we see on this daily chart? On the daily chart, I can see that we had an information in this region with the neckline being there, right? And we can see that price broke the neckline. However, we are yet to see price come back to the neckline to retest it. So should price come to this level to retest the neckline of this M structure, we would again be looking for further selling opportunities, right? And the nice thing is that the neckline of this M structure is actually in line with that huge head and shoulders pattern that we have on the weekly chart as well as on the monthly chart, right? So that is complements. We have two necklines here, one of this huge structure and another of the small M formation over here. So indeed, should price reach this point, we would be looking for possible selling opportunities. And I also spoke about how we have